Co-founder and former CEO of Pixar, Ed Catmull, tells us how he designed the management structure of creative teams at Pixar and Walt Disney Animation. The Brain Trust meeting is the foundation of Pixar's creative process. It started with their first feature film, Toy Story, and it is being iterated on to this day. A brain trust is typically held after each major design decision is made about a film. The director proposes the change, and the trustees offer their critique. For a brain trust to go well, these rules should be followed. Nobody can override the presenter, they have the final say on what changes are implemented. Critiquing members are peers of the presenter. This helps build trust among members that they can help solve the problem. Everybody in the brain trust shares the success of the project. It is not presenter versus trustees, it is all brain trust members versus the problem. Finally, give and take honest notes. Be as ruthless as necessary to fix the film. A masterpiece isn't allowed to be good enough. Like we spent most of this class learning, research is essential to the design process. Pixar studied at famous French restaurant The French Laundry to make their scenes authentic on Ratatouille. They do on-the-ground research for every film. How they toss the pan, zest the lemon, or even how they hold the knife, everything needs to be authentic. Ideas are pitched at Pixar all the time. New ideas are fragile and need to be protected from premature criticism while they find their way. The original idea of Inside Out was conceived by the director watching his daughter grow up. Seeing her bubbly personality quiet down as she reached preteen years, he wanted his team at Pixar to explore how emotions affect memory, identity, and growing up. Early brain trusts with other directors and senior writers confused people. The story was way too abstract, and viewers couldn't emotionally connect to the story beats. The brain trust overarching feedback was it's not clear what the film is about.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
The pivotal moment that gave the director permission to enter full production with Inside Out was when they decided to make sadness the co-protagonist. Through research with psychologists and several brain trusts, they realized that sadness is not a flaw, it's an essential component of growth. Trust the process. The beginning of a project can feel like entering a dark tunnel. You only have a vague idea of what it's like inside this tunnel, but if you trust the process, you will make it to the other side. Each director at Pixar has a different metaphor for trusting the process. It can be like walking through a snowstorm. You can see the tracks that got you here, but you can't see 6 feet around you. The storm wants to knock you down, but you have to keep moving through it. I like this metaphor more because it acknowledges that there is no straight way through the tunnel. You may have to retrace your steps sometimes or plot a different course altogether, and it is cognizant of the fact that the storm may win, knocking you down. Mistakes are a necessity. A bad process cannot be trusted. Catmull loved contradicting his own rules in this book. The point is, the process itself is prone to mistakes, and it should be. Your process is a living idea that needs to adapt to bring out the most of your team. Disney had a process where mistakes were punished harshly. Their process was optimized to avoid making mistakes. In other words, they had a process of making mediocre films. When Catmull took over Disney Animation, he began untangling the bureaucratic knot they tied themselves in. After a multitude of mistakes releasing their first film together, The Princess and the Frog, they got a functioning brain trust working for Disney and released massive box office films back to back. Mistakes happened at Pixar all the time, and punishment was not the priority. When Pixar was working on Toy Story 2, somebody typed remove recursive force delete in root directory into the database, storing the entire film by mistake. This deletes everything. The whole movie got deleted. Everything they were working on for years was gone, and they had no backup, meaning the company was probably going to go bankrupt. Luckily for our heroes, a woman working from home during maternity leave saved a build from 2 months ago on her personal computer. Pixar's management decided that this was not as much a personal mistake on the person who typed in the command as a structural failure that somebody could even make such a mistake. During a company-wide emergency meeting where they explained what had happened, no one was named. During the whole fact-finding process, there was no desire to make someone pay for their mistake. They just wanted to solve the problem. Catmull gloats that many companies try to hold these values, but few walk the walk like Pixar when rubber hits the road. Good ideas can come from anywhere. A film company is not just a director, not just engineers, and not just a team of writers, nor cleaners or personal chefs. Every employee is part of the team and plays a vital role in your company. There needs to be a platform for each member of the team to share their opinions. When Pixar felt like members of the company's voices weren't being heard, they set aside a whole workday they called Notes Day. The mechanism to collect these notes is too sophisticated to fully explain here, but the point is, different departments commingled and made notes for management on how to solve problems within the company. People are worth more than ideas. A good team can elevate a bad idea. A bad team will ruin a good idea. You can't see everything. There are too many employees with too highly specialized skill sets to understand what everyone is doing. People will let things slide so as not to make a fuss. We have to enable each employee to stop the production line when they see a problem. Catmull jokes that when he merged with Disney, profanity was erased from the English language, kindness was achieved in the hearts of every employee, and a smile was sewn to their faces. In reality, they were treating him like a man who was just put in charge of a $200 billion company. You can't control everything. You have to adapt to your team's needs. You need to learn when to let the snowstorm knock you down, or when to keep pushing through. Chaos is part of the job, and fighting it means fighting the work of your own team. Don't stranglehold your team and let them make good films. You hired them for a reason. There go the people. I must follow them, for I am their leader. Don't let success make you comfortable. Now that you have designed a successful creative team, it's time to remain vigilant. Catastrophes completely hidden from view threaten you from all sides. Someone might accidentally delete your entire film. You didn't become successful by playing it safe, and you won't remain successful for long if you let your team slide into mediocrity.